For today's perspective, our guest is an award-winning former France 24 journalist who fled Pakistan after escaping an attempted kidnapping. He's now exiled here in France. Taha Siddiqui says he's since discovered he's on a kill list in Pakistan, so can't go back. And he's now opened a bar in Paris, set up to help people in exile like him. It's called the Dissident Club, and it's also the name of this, Taha's autobiographical story, released this week, not as a traditional first-person account, but in comic book format. Now, Taha is here with us this morning. First of all, take us back to your time in Pakistan. You did a documentary for France 24. It won the French equivalent of the Pulitzer Prize. So how did you then end up the target of a kidnap attempt?
Well, that happened in 2018, and that's where the book actually opens with, because this is the scene which is before and after of my life. So I thought we should open the book with that. And basically in 2018, I was attacked in Pakistan, and I was kidnapped by armed men that I believe to be from the Pakistan military. And this was the attack happened after receiving threats for many years from the Pakistan military for my investigations, whether it was the investigation into the tribal belt, the investigation into the human rights abuses of the military. I used to report for France 24. I used to report for English American media, for the New York Times, for Guardian, etc. And several times preceding to this attack, I was told by the military that I should behave, which I did not, I guess. And then eventually the attack on my life, and then shortly after the attack, I was told that if I do not shut up and go quiet, I could be killed, and I had to leave the country, and I came to France naturally because of all the connections I had here.
Well, you had done really incredibly impressive journalism, critical reports on the Taliban, the Pakistani military too. Do you know who was behind the kidnap attempt?
Definitely, from what I understand, I mean, in Pakistan, we have something called the enforced disappearances, where when people go missing without trials, without any, process. And this is what I was a victim of. And the enforced disappearances, the Pakistan military is behind it. A number of human rights organizations globally have called out the Pakistan military for that. There have been investigations of people who've come back. I mean, they operate, invisibly, but this is the Pakistan military's intelligence wing, the ISI, which carries out these enforced disappearances, and it's happening even today. We know that, people went missing just last week in Pakistan. According to independent estimates, more than 15,000 people are missing in Pakistan, and they are, languishing in secret prisons. And I was actually investigating those secret prisons, and that's, again, another story in the book.
We'll talk about the book in a second. I want to bring us on to the Dissidents Club itself, this bar in Paris. So the idea, tell us about it, for other exiles like you in your position.
So no coincidence,
Well, basically, when I came here in 2018 and realized that my name was on a kill list and I could not go back, I had to do something to sort of, be financially sustainable. But I thought that I would do something which is related to my journalism. And because of the attack, I had become more of an advocacy journalist rather than just a journalist. So I wanted to sort of create a space where I could bring people like me together and sort of introduce them to the French society. Because when I came here in the beginning, I felt a bit alone, and I felt like as a refugee, political refugee, it's not an easy life. You don't have the same networks, you don't have the same friends, you don't have the same family. And I wanted to sort of like create a space that could provide me with that, and also other people like me with that, and then sort of connect them with the French society. So since January 2020, I've been running the Dissident Club, and it's a place where we do different kinds of cultural activities, social activities, intellectual activities. We do projections of documentaries, debates, conferences, performances, and we try to bring dissidents from around the world together.
Which brings us on to the Dissidents Club, the book. You can see the images behind us. Why what we call the bande dessinée? Why the comic book format and not the usual first-person narrative?
Well, primarily because, you know, when I was growing up, and as we explain in the book, I grew up in a very religious environment. My parents had actually banned any sort of, like, my father was very religious, so he banned any sort of comic books in the house, any kind of drawings of humans, which, according to him, his interpretation, it's considered un-Islamic. So I thought that when I had this chance of writing my autobiography, because I was contacted by publishers to write my story because they heard about what happened with me. So when I discussed it with a few friends, and I thought, okay, as a child, I wasn't allowed comic books. So as a grown-up, why not do this as an act of resistance? So it was to do with that thought when I was contacted by publishers when I came here, that I thought that I should do a comic book. Did not know anything about comic books when I started this project, but thankfully found Hubert Maury, who's my co-author, and managed to sort of produce this book.
I mean, there's a few things going through my mind, and I'm sure viewers are thinking the same things. First of all, you're on a kill list in Pakistan. You're not hiding. You're very well publicised. You've got this bar for other dissidents. You've got the bande dessinée, the comic book. Is it something that you think helps to publicise your case, or do you feel like the situation's changed in Pakistan where you could go back?
I don't think the situation has changed. We are still seeing a lot of journalists who are being attacked. Just this week also, some journalists were arrested. People are still going missing. So I do not think the situation in Pakistan is improving. It's actually regressing, and has regressed since I left. As far as being visible is concerned, I think in my case, visibility brings protection, and the more visible I am, I think the more protected I feel. And also at the same time, it's very important for me to tell the story, because it's not just my story. It's the story about freedom of expression. It's a story about someone's ideas of freeing themselves from religion, from other societal conditions and limitations. So I through my story, I use myself as a platform to tell important stories about Pakistan, about my childhood in Saudi Arabia, where I grew up, where the story starts from, and so the idea was to use my life as an experience to give other people sort of like a look into how things happen in these countries where children are grown up in such environments, what happens to them. And in a way, my story is a bit of hope, even though there is the ending is about me leaving Pakistan. But I mean, I survived, and today I'm here, and I'm happy that I've been able to do something out of this.
Taha Siddiqui, thank you. It's an extraordinary story of survival, principally, the fact that you got away from a kidnapping involving 10 to 12 men and to have done something. So the book, extraordinary, The Dissident Club, and I'll be popping into your Dissident Club bar as well in Paris. Thank you for joining us here on France 24.
Thank you for having me.